Happy Monday, Sonder family. You found your people. Welcome to our Monday morning setup. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy. I get to be your facilitator this morning as we set up a new week, the last week in February. And joining me in our call this morning is the fabulous Katie Gideon, and she will be in the chat. She'll kind of guide us along the way. If there's any questions you have, drop that in the chat and she will hopefully be able to answer them or point you in the right direction. It's really good to see you all. I think our folks are slowly waking up. We're a little bit small right now, but usually we pick up a few people as our morning rolls on. I am very excited. It's a new, hello Monday. We've got this new week. I always look at the last week of the month as like, okay, let me go backward in my journal and see what my undones are and decide if they're worth doing this week and getting getting them knocked out. It's kind of my finish it up kind of week. So anyway, we're glad you're here. Pardon me. Make sure your Zoom is set to everyone in that chat. If you see your name to host and panelist, then that little blue box, if it doesn't say everyone, then everyone might not be able to see. And that is how we share, because your mics are off and your cameras are off. You get to just kind of hang out with us. And then if you need to, if you don't want to hear me, lower the volume. If the music's not vibing, feel free to lower that volume. But yeah, Leanne, I could, because there's always those outstanding things, right? There are little few things that I wanted to get done that I didn't get done. And what's great about it is you can give yourself grace and say, I put this on here, but it's really not that important anymore. So I'm choosing to leave it behind, or I'm choosing to get it done this last week and say, I did that in February and got that done. So um really quickly, the 24/7 personalized life coach, we've been shouting these out at all of our socials. Found this great little testimonial from Claire, who is a user of this, because I know you might be getting tired of me talking about how wonderful it is, but Claire loves it. Katie will have well, she just posted that link, and right now there is a 50% off for your first 3 months if you use the code early bird. Let's see, what was that code? Early Bird VIP. So grab that if you want some more info on that personalized coaching. My coaching will probably hit in about 30 minutes or so. It's usually Monday mornings when I get my little get your week going, Jennifer, message. We've got some special days this week. Today's National Tortilla Chip Day, which I will take. But I like to put these up there. So if you want to add a little something fun to your journal, grab a screenshot and maybe you can plug in a couple of those things. And I'm real excited about March the 1st, which is the global day of unplugging. Like, just leave those things behind, put those devices down, um, and unplug. But something else that's really special about March 1st, I just dropped it in the chat. If you are in the Denver metro area, Maya is hosting an in-person Silk and Sonder event. So if you're in that area, there is that link. I know, I wish I could, I want to fly to Colorado, but I will tell you, I have plans to do one in the DFW, Texas area soon. I've got some stuff on my plate right now, but we're gonna just do, just like a gathering. Like, let's just gather and like touch each other, give hugs, and get the real face behind those names that we keep seeing. So, oh yay, Kelly, you're gonna be there. That's amazing. So that lines up perfectly with that national or that global day of unplugging and go get some real people time. So anyway, hopefully you grabbed something. Katie just said, she's doing nachos because it's tortilla chip day. But those are just kind of a fun way of looking at our, what am I doing here? I'm going the wrong way. Looking at our week. Um, so we are going to start our morning today with our admiration mind map. We'll do our rosebud thorn reflection, and then we'll get going with those weekly setup pages. So we are finishing up our admiration mind map, and y'all, I used a cookie cutter this month to set up my spaces. Now, If you are here for the very first time, we do a bonus prompt at these weekly setups. If you happen to be here for the first time, drop a me in the chat. I'm seeing lots of familiar names. I always say my Monday morning group, but just say me in the chat so we can give you a welcome. So the mind map is that bonus prompt you get for coming to the weekly setups. We've done 4 weeks worth. You can do this anywhere in your journal. I did mine on the last page. And I grabbed a cookie cutter. Well, I think now that's going to be my default. I'm going to go get cookie cutters every month, depending on the holiday or whatever, and just trace them. And it just made it a fun way to interact with my mind map. Oh, and Catherine just posted, she's not new, but hi from Austin. Catherine, my daughter actually lives in Austin. So after I do the DFW meetup, at some point, I'm going to schedule one for our Austin Silk and Sonder family. And I'll just go stay with my daughter and then I'll get to see Silk and Sonder people. So yeah. And Leanne, I'm going to go see, I think I have a shamrock. I think I have one that I'm going to put in my March. All righty. So our mind map has been looking at the admiration. We started off with what do we admire in ourselves? Week 2, what do we admire? The admiration of others. Week 3, that was last week. Nature. What do we admire about nature? That one was so fun. We could do a whole month of that. And then this week, admiration of art. Very excited about that. So I pulled together just some imagery for you to kind of get your brain going with the different areas of what we consider the arts. Film, there's art in athletics and how people move and use their body, poetry, music, concerts, books. I think authors are, weave these beautiful stories, going to museums, films, listening to vinyl. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Art is everywhere. And I did this setup Saturday night, and we all honestly kind of went into the idea of like even like looking at your toaster, like there was design and processes behind that, and just seeing the beauty and the art in that and what we admire of the people who create those things, their skills and what you may be admiring yourself as a creator. Now, right there in the middle is the 100-day project. And that is a movement. And it actually started yesterday, but I'm giving myself permission to start it today. And it is a commitment of 100 days of being a creator, of doing something creative. So I love that we can kind of embrace the 100-day project idea with our reflection over the admiration of art. So Katie threw the link in there for the 100-day project.org if you want to go check that out. But it really is just this commitment about leaning in and embracing the creative side of you, of focusing on process, not product, and just how good that process is for our brains and what it does for us. So I'm going to challenge you to maybe think of a way that you can incorporate 100 days of creativity. But also, as we are answering this prompt this morning, I've pulled together just a list of some questions or some little mini prompts to maybe you might want to pick one of these and take it in the direction of the admiration of the arts. And yes, Christine, if you are an artist way person, that's a perfect way to really embrace that and do some artist dates with yourself. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking because I want you to have time to lean into your personal admiration of the arts. There's no right or wrong here. It's all about you and where you find art and what you admire about that. I'm going to put on some music and then I'll come back and we'll get going with the rest of our setup. Thank you, friends, for taking a moment to think about how art fits in your life, how you admire different genres of art, different ways that people express themselves, and maybe seeing that art, that artist that is in your soul through this reflection. And perhaps as you go through the week, especially if you embrace that idea of the 100-day project, you'll be a little more attuned to seeing art in everything. Your toaster, your car, all the things that have been designed. We are now going to turn to page 50 in our February journal, and we're going to do our rosebud thorn reflection. I like to think of this as my gratitude reflection for the entire week, looking back over what the week brought me. Yes, even those thorns we can find gratitude in. Maybe there's lessons learned from those thorns. So I'll start with the thorns. What didn't go right, or what was a little bit challenging for you. Yes, Catherine, it is okay to be in March. We don't have a space for this rosebud thorn reflection, but you can do it on a little scratch note and reflect there, or on a separate piece of paper, since you are in your March journal. Those thorns, what do you need help with? What could you maybe look at and reframe to turn into a bud? For me, it was just super cold weather in Texas. Our houses are meant to let air kind of out because we deal with so much heat. And so when it gets cold, it just feels super cold, and we're not used to 13 degrees in Texas. So it just, I don't know, it just throws us off off kilter. Kids can't go outside, all that kind of stuff. And then my heater went out yesterday, but I'm very grateful that it's not that cold this week. Like we're gonna have a big warm up. I was out in the yard yesterday working, but anyway, just that hiccup of really cold weather. And I know some of y'all are sitting there going, "Oh, 13 degrees is nothing." Like but then the bud is those things that we're looking forward to, some opportunities that might be coming our way, or just the little, like, an idea that may be giving you hope and inspiration. For me, I'm going to be involved in a baby quilt project at our church. We're going to start. We're going to make baby quilts for the newborns that come into our church family, and we're starting off. There's two brand new babies. I get to do one of those little quilts, but we're going to try to do like a little stockpile so we have them ready to go. They can be taken to the hospital, and they can just be surrounded by love that way. And I'm just real excited to embrace that. And then the highlight of my week, our Rose, was that the little guy who made us grandparents now is 7 years old. He had his birthday last week, and I just am always so amazed at how fast those 7 years went. But 7 years ago, I was living in the Houston area and cried every time I left the Dallas area. And so now here we are, and we get to have him in our life. So we're so excited to celebrate him. That's always a fun way to have a great week. We would love to know your rosebud thorns. We want to celebrate your roses and your buds, and we want to just let you know that we're here and you're not alone as you're dealing with thorns. So just drop those things in the chat and share as you're comfortable, and I'll be back to check in with you in just a few moments. You know what, Annalisa, when I have trouble thinking of a bud, sometimes I'll just think about like I may write, like tomorrow's a new day or I've got a new week. And that's my bud. Or, I'm looking forward to spring or, I can't wait for Christmas next year. Like think of the highlights that bring you joy and just drop one of those in there. And when you see it on paper, there's a little bit of power, right? In what that represents for you to see, this is a new week can really be great for that mindset. So if you're ever a little stuck, just kind of think about, there's always a day coming up somewhere in the year. Maybe your birthday, maybe a birthday of someone you love. Maybe it's a big sale. Sometimes I look forward to Wednesdays because the grocery ads, maybe they're going to have something great on sale that for the new week. So it's all about just finding those little moments. But I'm glad you called that out and put that in the chat because sometimes it is hard to think about like what am I looking forward to? So thanks for sharing that so that we could talk about that. So this is one of those weeks where you may be in your February journal, or you may be in your March journal, or you may be in your February and March journal. So we're going to be setting up the pages on 52 and 53, which is the last week of February. I tend to kind of look at, how many days are included in that week, in each journal. And since it's mostly February, I'm going to go ahead and finish out this week in the February journal, and then I'll just start my March journal next Monday morning. But you might want to go ahead and just transition into that on March 1st on Saturday. So if you want to set up both sets, you can. But anyway, so you get to choose. That's wonderful. Whatever you want to do, you can drop in the chat. Like I know that one of the things we love about Silk and Sonder is that fresh start, right? Opening that fresh journal and that new beginning. So if a month has been particularly tough for me, I've had a couple of those in the past where I'm just, even though there's more days in that month, I may jump to the new journal just to get those fresh, clean sheets. Like leave the junk behind. As I say, some months are trash fires, and so you might be ready to move into March. No right or wrong way to do that. But drop in the chat maybe, if you're what you're thinking about. Yes, and I had someone else said that at last night's chat. I'm a Virgo, and so February is going in February, March is going in March. I love that. Okay, you were there last night, Michelle. I love that you're catching two setups. So I have a couple, this full example, couple of things to share with you. You can see the setup over there, that whole setup on the right. This person wants to radiate joy. Instead of doing how they want to feel, they just put this week, I want to radiate joy. And then they've brought that down into their goals and their habits. So they're going to radiate joy. And their three goals are for their mind, they're going to radiate happiness. For their body, they're going to radiate healthiness. And for their soul, they're going to radiate kindness. And then as you go across into their to-do list, they actually created a little grid where they have some actionable items to help create happiness, to help create that healthiness, and to remind themselves ways to be kind. And then, the rest of the setups, the habits and activities, there's not a certain number that they're doing. They've just got it listed and they're going to track. So that's definitely one thing you can do. This is Kimberly Ells, and I was really excited to see this because I wanted to share with you a couple of things about her page that I found so fun. First off, her weekly goals, she had a big exam last week. So her three goals are really one goal. It's just wash, rinse, and repeat, study, study, study. But I love how she just said, this is what I need this week. And so her three goals is actually turned into one goal. But look at her to do. So her to do list is laundry, meal prep, and yoga. But look how she framed that out as that reminder to self about how she's going to feel after she does the things on the to do list. So she's put it in terms of a statement. If you you do laundry, then you will feel less overwhelmed. And like we know that mentally, but again, that power of seeing it written down. So I really loved that suggestion of reminding yourself how you're going to feel. And then, yes, Carla, I totally agree. Look at how the habits and activities are broken out. She's putting goals there. And if she meets the goals, she's giving herself a little reward for each one of those line items, which I thought was great. And like they're not big deals, you know. Look at like I love that, you know, she is gonna do Google reviews 3 small businesses that past week. And her reward was she's gonna give herself 1 hour of mindless scrolling, right? Like we always talk about how bad it is to be distracted on her phone, but yet this is going to be a reward. She's not going to feel guilty about it, and she's going to carve out that time and say you have permission to do that. I love it. I love the idea of rewarding ourselves. You know, I just think we deserve those little pats on the back. So grab a screenshot of that. If that's something that is speaking to you, what are small ways you can reward yourself? And really, it's about being mindful because it could be as simple as a cup of tea. You may be drinking that cup of tea every day, but what does it look like if you create that time to enjoy a slow cup of tea? And that is your reward, right? Like just the mindfulness that goes into rewarding yourself for a job well done. So I was real excited to share those with y'all. So this week I want you to think about how you want to feel, or this week I want to, and it might be embrace admiration of the arts. Maybe you're really going to lean into our mind map. Um, or you're going to choose those feelings for the days that you have. Oh, I love that, Dawn, enjoying coffee out of a teacup. Those are kind of going away, so I love that you treat yourself that way. But you know, share in the chat, how do you want to feel? What words are coming up for you? You could have one word for the whole week. You could have several words, a word for each day. It's really about what you feel you are needing this week. Joanna says she's looking at being focused. Gloria wants to be lighthearted, which I love. The winter doldrums are kind of hanging on, and so it's nice to embrace a lighthearted feeling. Kate is looking to be kind this week. She wants to feel kind. Danielle, we all need that, right? Forgiving of self, refocused, collected, present. Keep dropping those words in the chat because your word may be the word that someone else is looking for. And then we're going to take those feelings and put them into our goals for the week. That might work, that might align perfectly for you. Just a reminder, I love this quote. You are not a before and an after. You don't have to prove you've made it to some other side. You can just be you right now. And so I think that's a really good mindset to embrace as we look at our goals and our to-dos for the week. Of course, you might want, since we are finishing up February, go take a look at those intentions. How are you doing? Are there intentions that did not happen, but you really want to embrace them this week so that they do? And then again, looking at admiration, especially through the arts, through our creative world. Focus on that this week, or like I said, you know, end of the month, what needs to be done that we haven't done. Perhaps you need no goals. I know last night when I was working with Maya, somebody in the chat said, "You know what? The no goals is really the direction. That's the direction I need to go this week. I need to like kind of cut some stuff out." So they were going to embrace that for setting up the week, and I'll go back through all these slides because I know I'm kind of turning them quickly. Thought these were fun. Someone was inspired by their stickers for how they want to feel. They want to feel cute as a button. And then their 3 goals were button up, button down, and unbutton. And they put some fun stuff there. So, I always say stickers want to be stuck, but I love how the sticker actually inspired the feeling for the week, kind of setting up a personal challenge, personal theme. Lots of folks like to divide the section up into three different areas, and you create one goal to support each one of those areas. So there's some examples of that. And then also they'll take those three goals and tie their to-dos into that. And there are some great examples, as well as you're seeing the repeat of that first slide that I showed you of this page, how they've directly correlated their to-dos with their goals. But oftentimes our to-do list may just be a standalone to-do list, and that's okay too. And then you can also just repurpose this space to fit what you need. You can see there's like a bingo board. Someone, instead of doing goals, did three self-love reminders, because that is a priority for them during the week. Perhaps you do a little grid, a little check off list, like this ritual and routine. These two that you see about, the morning self-care, and then just like the morning to do. So it's really about taking what you need. Then we jump into those to do lists. That reminder, that graphic, there's trying to do everything at once. It feels like you're moving a mountain. Just, I love the visuals of, they really speak to me, and I love how she's just carrying, a bit at a time, that reminder to do a little every day. It doesn't have to be all done at once. Grab those smaller pieces. How do you eat an elephant? One spoonful at a time. So lots of folks will take this to-do list and divide it up into the different areas of their life. I always leave mine blank as a to-do list, because I celebrate those things that I accomplished. And my to-do list goes in my weekly spread. Here's some more examples of how folks will divide this section up. You can see self, home, others, school, and personal. And then if you have a really long to-do list, we do like to shout out to that Eisenhower matrix. It's a great way of taking that long to-do list, plugging it in. This might be a really good thing to do this week if you are going backward through your journal and looking at all the undones that you want to get done. Maybe you plug those into this Eisenhower matrix to help you prioritize, so that by the end of the week you've done those main things that you were focusing on. And then there's other kinds of lists that can go here. A to be list. Are you needing to just kind of settle your soul and focus on how to be this week? Love the idea of a worries list, kind of that mindset of a brain dump of the things that are keeping you awake at night. Joanna said, the sleep wasn't so great. And, that mind fog, perhaps a worries list could help with that. A to don't list, the things that we need to stop doing because they're not serving us. Here's some fun ways of setting that to do list up. And then also a to do list. I mentioned that, keeping that blank and just adding to it as I knock those things off. But perhaps a distractions list. And that could be really beneficial to tie into that International World Day of Unplugging on March the 1st. Like, what are those things that are distracting me from embracing all that is out there? We're going to take a look now at the habit and activity tracker. Then I'll go back to the front end of these slides, and I'll go through them a little slowly so that you can grab any screenshots of something that you see. Our habits and activities, you don't have to fill out every line here. We always tell you take what you need, but I love, somebody didn't have enough lines, so they've actually added a sixth thing. And some folks may take those same habits and those same habits from your habit wheel, and you may put them in this space because you're trying to really get those habits accomplished. And so you're putting it in two spaces so that it's really drawing attention to what you're trying to get done in your life. I love the idea of circling the days that certain things are going to happen. You see a couple of examples there. The one that's over on the bottom right, they're just going to track 3 things. It's okay to give yourself that permission to do so. The one on the upper right, they've kind of made a game out of it. It's that countdown. And so they're going to do something 6 days, 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days. So that kind of countdown to gamify those habits. And then we've got some habit ideas for you if you're looking to add something new. Our habits and activities really shouldn't be much different from week to week because habits can take many, many, many days, many, many weeks. Some habits are trickier than others to get well established. So we're going to want to see those things repeating. We don't want to recreate the wheel every single week because then we're kind of all over the place and our focus should be on those main things that we're working on for our life. So you may just be moving habits forward from week to week to week until you get them firmly established in your life. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking. I've got a good chunk of music to put on, and I'll go back through all these slides again as you work on this page. And drop in the chat as you're working on this. Do you repurpose anything? Do you always do 3 goals, or do you do like one main thing for the week? Kind of share your approach to this page because it may inspire someone else, and it may be just what that person's looking for in their journal. I love some of the call outs in the chat. Kelly said, I'm going to choose 2 habits this week because I want to set myself up for success and not feel bad about not getting stuff done. That's such a great call out, Kelly, because we want to set ourselves up for success, right? We want to feel like we got it done. And if we've loaded our plates, sometimes that's not what we need that week. So I appreciate you hollering that out, calling that out there. So we're going to flip over to that B side, as Katie loves to call that second side of the record album. This page includes our meal plan, our mind body health plan, the shopping list, and the I am loving box. If you're in February, you're going to see that on page 53, and of course on page 27 in March. And this is the space that gets repurposed a lot. This page, you're always invited to use the pages just as they are. I use my pages mostly as they are, but I think the second page, oh, Carly, good. Carly's back. She had a meeting, but she's already back. I'm glad you came back. And so we like to think about different things that can be put into this page, into repurposing any of these sections that might speak to you. Again, you're invited to use them as they are, but you might find reframing one of them might work better in your life. There's not an exhaustive list, but a list or some ideas of how we've seen this page get reposted or repurposed. Sorry, I was reading the chat and said the word posted. So our meal plan, or here's a couple examples of the pages all set up. And I wanted to call out a couple of things because I always say stickers want to be stuck, but you can see that one of these mind body health plans just has a really positive mindset sticker stuck there. Not going to worry about writing in this box. And then just a fun, pretty little graphic down in the shopping list. And then the one on the right, same thing. Just some ideas of here's what I'm going to remember this week, and did use the stickers to inspire that space. Repurposing the meal plan. The one on the left is their daily scripture reading. The one on the right is the reflection of what I did well. And then the one on the right, looking for a daily glimmer, really trying to pay attention to those good things that spark joy. And that's how they're setting that space up. Here's 3 different ways of setting this up if you're using it as the meal plan as a meal plan, or in conjunction with your nutrition and how you're feeding your body. So I always like to throw this one in there. You may be tracking those macros, and so that's what someone's doing over there on the far right, but also you could just, plan out your meal, or I kind of use mine often as kind of that leftovers tracker. Like, we ate this, but that way I can keep track of, the leftovers and what we do. And then Alice is sharing that she uses the meal plan for her daily affirmations. And then she repurposes that mind body health is what, I always call it my selfish space. What did I do for me? Here are some other great examples of that meal plan. I love the idea of a doodle a day, especially if you are kind of embracing that creative 100 days. Just a little doodle. You leaned into and embraced the idea of being creative. National Day of course, always the meal plan for the soul. Those water droplets, don't forget to use those. You may decide you're not worried about tracking that hydration. Maybe you've got a big thermos. When it's gone, you got your hydration in. I love calling out that there are 8 water droplets here. So perhaps during the course of your day, you take 8 hours and do some kind of a check-in with yourself. Maybe there is, something affiliated with that mood tracker. And so maybe each hour every day, you just do a quick little check-in. How am I feeling? If I'm really trying to embrace calm this week, make this little calm tracker and check in on, the top of an hour for 8 hours, and just really try to embrace that idea, using that as an accountability tool. the mind body health plan again. I like to think of this as my selfish space. And this graphic is such a good reminder that it's self-care involves a lot of different things in our life. It's not just that end of the day shower, of being alone in the shower for 10 minutes. That's part of it. But we need connections with our people. We need good rest. That's a layer of self-care. We need to make sure we are protecting our boundaries and not piling too much on ourselves. We need to have moments of mindfulness. We need to be sure we're moving our body, and we need to be sure that we're fueling our body with what we need. And so I love how it's broken down into that Swiss cheese model, because we get that visual of how important it is that all of these things come into play to make us the best version of ourselves. This graphic cracks me up. You look tired. I always loved when people told me that, right? You're like, well, thanks. It's probably because I am. So, do you need a particular type of rest? Maybe you need to embrace this idea of the seven types of rest, and there's a couple of ways to do that. Normally, we're lacking in one or two of these areas. So perhaps you focus on spiritual rest, and every day you're going to do something that fuels your spirit. Or perhaps you need some sensory rest. And so you're going to incorporate some things that will, all week focusing on that sensory rest. But you could also kind of just embrace the idea of paying attention to each type of this rest and assigning, a particular type of rest to each day. So it's really about taking what you need. But I love the idea. Never until Silk and Sonder, I always thought rest was just about the amount of sleep I got, and didn't consider the other areas of my life and how I might need that rest, in my sensory, and doing things like wearing the blue light glasses, or unplugging, or setting a timer to take a break from screen time. Or I never thought about that. So I love the idea of that, the seven kinds of rest. The alliteration days are just a fun way of setting up our days. And again, maybe this goes into your meal plan, and you do a fun alliteration day each day. Any of these ideas can be put in any of these spaces on this page. Here's some ways that folks have set up their mind body health plan. Um, and again, not a right way or wrong way to do it. It's about taking what you need. Love the idea of that self-care bingo, just some things that we can choose from. The one that you see at the bottom middle there, you create like this menu, and you're not really assigning a day. You're kind of seeing what do I need today? So maybe on Monday, it was a day you need to just give yourself time to have a good stretch, right? Depending on what Monday brought you. We always like, the mini reflections. How did I nourish my mind, body, and soul? Like you see in the upper left there. And then we have that shopping list, and I keep my shopping list on my phone. I've mentioned that before because I share it with my husband. So whoever is out and about has the shopping list at all times. So this space gets repurposed a lot for me. Mostly it's a bingo of just things that need to happen in the week, but there's some more ideas of what you can do in the shopping list. And then we have some examples here. I love the idea of a mini vision board. That's kind of fun, just a 1 week vision board, some little doodles. So we embrace that creative time, but also, the things that you wish for yourself for the week. You could also use this, the grids are great because you can do rituals. You can do little check boxes to make sure things are happening. Someone down there in the bottom left is using this space as kind of a money tracker and paying attention to spending and not taking out, kind of giving them giving themselves a little checklist there to be mindful of finances. So that could be one of their goals, and they're bringing that accountability over into this space. Again, some more weekly bingos and some menu items for things to check in with yourself. I often include this social check-in down there at the bottom right because I think it's so important to make sure we're checking in with our people. And then finally, what are we loving this week? And so this could be anything. And we'd love for you to drop what you're loving in the chat while we're working on this. And then when we come back, I have some examples of our weekly spread to share with you. And then we'll close out our time. So let us know what you do on this page, and I'll be back to check in with you and we'll finish our time out. Okay, I love that. I said I love that March's theme is going to be vitality. I'm super duper excited about that. And Christina said that's my theme, my word of the year. So I love that alignment. That's fun. And I'll be there Thursday night for the first monthly setup. So I'm excited about that. Or I don't know, maybe it's the second one. But anyway, I'll be doing Thursday night's monthly setup. And now I wanted to just take a moment. I tried to kind of rush this a little bit so that I could share some of those weekly spreads with you. I know sometimes I look at those pages and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do this week. And so I've got some inspiration from our Silk and Sonder family of just kind of how to divide those spaces up and use them. And I thought it would be nice to take a moment to look at what our friends do on these pages. There's lots of way. No, again, not a right or wrong way. I know some folks will just use this as their end of the day kind of mind dump. They just sort of like, here's what happened today. And they do that reflection every day, leave it on the page. And then, close out the day, go to bed because they put all their day onto the page. But just wanted to, yes, it does. Michelle, there's so much power in writing and releasing. So it can, if you're having trouble with sleep, it can be so helpful to do kind of an end of day reflection and just, journal your worries away. Journal your worries away. That should be a song. But it can be so helpful for us to do that. So there are some examples of those weekly spreads. Part of what I do, I do a postcard swap group kind of thing, and I get postcards and I send postcards all over the world. So I'll do my sent and my receive so I can kind of see visually. I mean, it's tracked on the app, but I like writing down. Like I got a card from Germany today, that kind of thing. So that's a space on my weekly spread. So, of course, this is the fastest hour of our week, and we are coming to an end. I would love to see your sections posted in Sonder Club if you're comfortable doing that. And just like Alice posted her cute little button up page last week, and I snagged that. I was like, I'm going to put that in the setup this week. So I'm so glad that you guys were able to join us. There is the playlist from this morning, and I will, when I go off camera, I'll drop that Spotify link. But, that's my admiration list, and we're saying goodbye to admiration. It's still going to live in our hearts, but we are getting ready to move forward into vitality. Y'all make this a great week. Spring is around the corner. We've almost made it through these wintering months, and Katie and I are just so glad we got to start our day with y'all. See you Thursday.
I want to love myself without needing someone else to say it to me. I want to love myself without needing someone's help to show it to me. Hey, cause I can be mean in my mind, beat myself up all the time with awful thoughts, and I can't eat myself alive. I'm gonna try, it's gonna be an awkward talk, but I love you, I don't say it enough. I love who you are, who you become. Don't know why I cannot hear it, unless it comes from someone else. But I'ma find a way to finally feel it when I say it to myself. Not swayed by opinions, be me authentically without the apologies. I want my heart to soar without being insecure and point out what's wrong with